Today, I want to give you guys a Ninja Turtle survey. We're going to kick off all the Ninja Turtle stuff now by asking you guys some deep personal questions about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we're going to do...
it's not like a quiz. It's not to see who knows more about Ninja Turtles.
No, this is not a quiz. We're going to do that later.
School you.
But,
yeah, probably.
We are going to do a little quiz a little bit later on trivia.
Okay.
It will be about a topic that none of us knows well enough to do a quiz for, I am sure. So, here is the first... item in the survey. Who is everybody's favorite Ninja Turtle? Now, I know the answer to this for each of you guys, but the audience will not necessarily.
I think most people know my favorite.
They probably know yours. Yeah.
Shocker! My favorite's Raphael.
Let's start with CJ.
Oh man, easily Donatello. Are you kidding me?
Where's my Donatello?
He does everything and anything the other turtles do. He's just as technically, like, martial arts-wise, as proficient as the other turtles. Does it all with a stick. And then, I mean, he's doing it with something that's not, like, by any means an offensive weapon, even a little bit, but manages to carry him. He's never the weakest part of the team, is what I'm saying. And then... he goes on and then builds everything that they could possibly need, whether it's a souped-up garbage truck or the internet in the sewer. He's just... he's easily the most contributing turtle to the entire...
invented the internet.
For the turtles, they have no reason or purposes for having the internet in the sewers. Are you kidding me?
Because I still don't think we have a TurtleCom that is a smartphone. I think even 2012 doesn't do that.
He's so close.
We would have that by now.
He's so close. He just needs a couple more parts to fly into the sewer, and then he'll have it.
He's totally snuggling Donatello.
He's just the best turtle by and large. I have respect for the leader Leo, the bad boy Raph, the funny guy Mike, but I mean, Donatello, he does it all with little to no problem. And then he died that one time, but he came back. He came back.
He wasn't dead.
He was beat up.
He was just beat up.
He was just beat up.
But they put the consciousness.
Do you read those?
I just respond to the news. He didn't die that one time.
No, he was he was basically in a coma, and yeah, they put his consciousness in Metalhead.
Right.
And
because that messes with him later in universe.
Yes, which is wonderful.
Yeah,
it's some of the best stuff in that. But he's,
I read that issue.
But yeah, he's on life support that whole time, so he's never technically dead.
Oh, lame.
Yeah.
Because they sold that entire issue. Like
they did. They didn't. That was nobody's fault but the internet.
Okay.
People looked at the last page, and he's all brutalized to a pulp by Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, his shell's all cracked. And there's scars.
Have you never read comics before?
Right.
People looked at that and assumed he was dead. It's so bizarre. It's like people have never read comic books before.
I just assumed
nobody said he was dead. It's called a cliffhanger. He's bleeding to death. That doesn't mean he is dead.
Lame.
Right? And it was really bizarre how much money that issue was commanding online for a while.
I was really excited. Yeah, it did. It was really exciting.
Who is your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Raphael. I said that. I did say that. Everyone knows it's my favorite turtle. People have met me. People have seen me talk.
I just didn't know if you wanted to talk about the fact that it's your favorite.
Well, I'm not going to go to bat for him like,
man.
CJ.
Man. I have so much to say about Donatello.
No,
Raphael's good. He's
always been the one I've related to.
Donatello is also my favorite, depending on, but it somewhat depends on which version we're talking about. Thanks.
I can't just cuddle him the entire time. That's
we should have either cloned you or had a stuffed metalhead.
That would have been great.
I would love a stuffed metalhead. Who's your favorite? You know, I should do this like I do the DC Marvel question. DC Marvel, Batman, favorite Ninja Turtle, metalhead. But no, it's Donatello except for in certain versions. For instance, in 1990, it's easily Raphael because that's the one we give any dimension to at all.
Yeah.
And I guess a little bit with Leonardo, but pretty much just them together, right?
Go on, we'll need you.
But Donatello is the most interesting in a lot of things, especially because he's the passive one who often ends up having to make the choice between like freedom and protection. He can sometimes be the most morally ambiguous of them, which can be really interesting. And I don't even always agree with him.
That comes with intelligence, though.
And overthinking stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, where he's he's an idealist at his best, but then when he's in really dire straits, especially when his friends or his family are in really dire straits, he can be honestly too much of a pragmatist. And I just think that there's a lot of dimension often in his character that you don't get with some of the others. But then so you get a lot of that in IDW. But then sometimes Michelangelo is my favorite in that series, and he's not my favorite in anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like him in Turtles in Time. I will play Michelangelo in Turtles in Time, but that's literally the only time that I identify with Michelangelo.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about in things that are story driven.
Totally fair. But
yeah.
Even so, there are moments where you can relate. With
okay, so
and it's interesting because I think a lot of people do like Donnie because in the video games he has the longest reach, and so that he's just always the one they picked. I know a couple of people that Donnie's
that's
their favorite.
True, but sometimes the reach
of the video games.
Like he's got a long reach, but sometimes it becomes a problem because he's the slowest to whip it out, and so that can be a problem. So we should blow through this.
Sure.
Favorite iteration. And I'm just going to say, obviously I'm talking about IDW all the time. At this point, that is probably my favorite iteration, and the 90 movie is a close second.
I'll say the Eastman Laird stuff, just because when I close my eyes, that's the Ninja Turtles I see. But the one that's like, I don't know, closest to me is the 90s film. Like, I know that film by heart. I could quote it. I could quote along with it. Like, so, somewhere between those two, but I don't know.
CJ, do you have a favorite?
Honestly, the most wholesome, it's so lame. It's so lame. It's such a lame answer. But it's so cool because it doesn't really... It blows through all the exposition of the Turtles story, which I really like. TMNT.
Really?
Yeah. I really enjoy that movie. Like,
it's a really good movie.
It gets underplayed so hard because... It's hard to compete against...
It's a good version of those characters.
Yeah.
The villain plot is just a video game story, and it's dull and nothing.
It's not great at all, but I love the internal struggle of the Turtles.
Oh, yeah,
I love
you're
that
right.
it's not anything that has to be built.
It is really too bad the sequel didn't happen.
Yeah, because they were going to do the award.
That would have been eventually. That was going to be the third thing.
Oh, was that going to be the third film?
Yeah,
oh, okay, I was under the impression that would be the second film.
They felt like they had some legwork they needed to do in a second movie. I'm getting all this information, by the way, from Ninja Turtles, the Ultimate Visual History.
I've heard nothing but great things
which I will be reviewing later on in the show. So I can cite that source. But
I listened to the commentary about years ago.
What they talk about, I never listened to that. But
it's good. It's really
what they say in this is that the second movie was going to do some legwork to eventually get us there, because I think they felt like they needed to reintroduce the Shredder before they did City at War.
Okay.
And also
that's weird because he's not in the City at War.
They wanted to do maybe they wanted to introduce him and get him and get rid of him, or make him part of it somehow. I don't know what the plan was. They were going to base it on City. It wasn't going to be City of War, or City of War. But anyway, but one of the big things they wanted to do was give Michelangelo a growing up story.
Oh.
And that would have been a lot of that movie.
God,
that's
that
cool.
is something I
So
need.
it's too bad that didn't happen.
Oh,
But you get it in the IDW comics,
Sure.
which is again part of why I like him so much there. But
those.
he's very everybody calls Michelangelo the heart of the team, but he very much is in IDW in the sense that he's the guy that always insists on doing the right thing regardless of like how difficult it makes things. So when Splinter takes over spoiler alert, when Splinter takes over the Foot Clan, for instance, the other three try to stay as long as they can. Michelangelo's out immediately.
Oh.
He's like, I can't do this. He goes and hangs out with the Mutanimals for a while until he realizes that they're basically terrorists. and he's basically trading in one terrible thing for another terrible thing.
God, they are, though. That weird reptilian kid with a skateboard.
But anyway, he's great in that. But yeah, there is no information that I can find on why they ended up not greenlighting a sequel. That book basically just said, and then it didn't happen, the end.
I know
because it made money, it did. I think it did like $100 million, and the movie cost like 34 or something.
No, I know
fine.
exactly why it didn't happen. That studio goes away. They make Astro Boy, and they're supposed to make Gotcha Man.
Okay.
And Astro Boy didn't make money.
But they could have they could have taken to some other studio.
That's true. That's true.
That has happened.
But that's Imagi, and that studio folded after Astro Boy.
And it's really weird
because Astro Boy is also really good.
It's really weird that happened just before Turtles Forever, because do you know about that with 4Kids? 4Kids folds and fires everyone a week before Turtles Forever is supposed to come out, and everybody just stays and finishes it.
That's awesome.
And they finish the movie a day before it's shown at Comic-Con.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Isn't that nuts? It's nuts.
Does 4Kids not exist? Who does
Human Spirit.
Pokemon now?
Not Funimation. It's
Viz?
yeah, Viz
Okay.
Media. Viz Media
Okay.
probably most certainly does Pokemon.
So, favorite non-Shredder or Krang villain? Again, my answer is my favorite Ninja Turtle, Metalhead, and sometimes Rat King.
I was thinking Rat King. I like Rat King. I don't know if that's my defense.
He's actually one I'm not real hot on in the IDW comics, but
Rat King.
yeah, like he's interesting, but it's...
I don't know. I love the Shredder. It's hard for me to-
Rocksteady and
Yeah.
Bebop.
yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Like those guys are great, 100%. They always have
We'll be talking about them later.
something fun to contribute.
Yeah.
And whether it be not that well thought out, but they're still there.
I do like Cry.
Yeah,
I'd go to the Ninja stuff with Ninja Turtles, and
I haven't
like Cry.
found a version of
You
her
gotta
I
read
just
City of
love
War.
yet.
We'll
Like,
get to it eventually.
Yeah,
We'll get to it
Well, yeah,
eventually.
because we're doing that in order.
She's great. Although
I liked her in 03. I mean, that's
Yeah,
probably the best
yeah.
on-screen version of her.
Yeah.
Jim Henson's never gonna be a bad answer in my eyes. So what? Tokar and Razor?
Yeah.
took our razor. Yeah.
Those outfits are great. I wish I had one of them. I don't even need both of them. I just want one.
Which is funny because they gave Jim Henson's studio like no money in making the second one.
Well, that's how talented they are.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
right.
They had a lot more budget for that movie, but they threw it all at Vanilla Ice and stuff like that.
No.
Yeah.
Only answer. It's the only answer to the franchise.
What-
We need him.
What 87 episode, what episode of the original series do you remember most from your childhood?
There's a Jack and the Giant Beanstalk episode, isn't there?
I don't know.
Of the original
I don't remember that.
1987.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't remember that.
There is a Jack and the Giant Beanstalk episode where the turtles climb a giant beanstalk. And it's the
Of course they
weirdest
do.
thing. It's I've
Naturally.
no knowledge aside from the fact that they were in Giantville, and somehow Shredder was maybe trying to harness the power of Giantville. I don't. I really wish I could remember it. As I just remember thinking this is the coolest thing in the world. Why is this crossover happening, and how am I here for it? No, yeah, that's probably my favorite episode.
And then Mickey Mouse shows up.
Right.
For me, it's the one with the xenomorph pizza
Yeah.
things. Because that's the one I had on VHS.
They're just alien.
But
yeah.
there's also one that I don't know whether it exists or not. But I remember as a kid flipping on the TV, and there was an episode, it was animated, where the turtles are fighting Shredder on a roof, and Shredder breaks Donnie's Sai, and like...
Raphael Sai?
Sorry, not Sai. No, Donnie's staff.
Bow staff,
Donnie's
okay.
staff. He breaks Donnie's bow staff, and
that sounds awkward. Here, you got a sign.
And,
which piece of it?
and Casey's there, but I don't actually know if this happened or if it was like a weird dream I had
Casey
as a
was
kid.
in
Just
very
some sort
few
of fever
episodes.
dream.
Yeah, it might be. It might be.
That's not ringing bells or anything.
All right,
but,
if anyone knows if there's an animated thing before
man,
03 where
I
the
just came up
Shredder
with
breaks
Jack and the Giant
Donnie's staff.
Beanstalk. TMNT.
Yeah, but that sounds believable.
Oh my god, it happened!
I
totally.
think the one I saw the most and that stuck with me the most from childhood was Pizza by the Shred. When Shredder opens up his pizza place, and it's real early.
Does he put on a
does
fake
that.
mustache too?
No,
And, like-
no, but he's got like an
That would
apron
be
and
past that
stuff,
show.
and he's got a whole get up, but he's still got his.
Does he have a
very
hat
60s
on his-
Batman.
on his helmet?
Yes,
John's-
over his. Yeah,
John's the worst Italian
it's the
accent
best.
ever.
Yes.
I also remember one that's is either the Splinter is shredded or the Shredder is splintered. Where,
Yes,
where
I never remember what it's called either.
Where Shredder and Splinter switch bodies, and I remember that being like a real, like as a kid, like, oh man,
What's
the,
gonna happen?
the Shredder's in their lair.
Some things can get messed up right now.
Lastly, and this can be of any show, I suppose, but what is your favorite Ninja Turtles toy or action figure?
Super Shredder.
Super Shredder.
Super Shredder.
That's great.
Super Shredder's great.
I want to say
I got one.
I want to
I had
say
one when I was
it's
a kid.
Donnie. I want to say I don't remember, but there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figure where essentially, sorry, Donnie, I've got a giant pizza box that comes out from the abdomen out.
Yes.
And you've got like a switch on the back that you can shoot pizzas out of it.
Yes.
And he's wearing like straight up pizzeria attire, and it's I want to say it's Donnie, but I can't remember.
Yep. There was a whole line of those.
Oh, it was the best thing to shoot.
There's
at my
also ones
little
where they have
sister.
real samurai armor, and I remember
Yes.
thinking that was the coolest thing as a kid.
And I don't think that was just 3, but I'm not sure because they made those for 3. But I think there's also maybe another set of them. I forget.
Right.
There were the Ninja Turtles Star Trek cross figures, which are hilarious.
Oh.
I've got one of those.
Vulcaneers? No Vulcaneers?
One of them does. They cast them so like Leonardo is Kirk and Donatello is Spock.
Oh, Leonardo's
and
not
we've
Kirk
been
at all.
reserved,
That's terrible.
Just because he's
Poor
the leader.
choice.
Just
I
'cause
know.
he's the
Poor
leader.
choice.
But I forget what all the.
Is Leo Sulu?
Well, no. If he's just leaders, like he's closer to Picard than he is to Kirk.
Well, sure, but
Well, no,
I
it was
mean,
on TOS,
original
It
bridge,
was-
I
it
guess
was-
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it was just a TOS crossover.
Okay.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
But my favorite toy is the Technodrome, but I never had one. I played
those
with
are
it
so
at
cool.
people's houses, my friends' houses, and I just loved it. But we can't talk about that
Okay.
yet.
Can we not? Okay.
In case my kids watch this.
Oh, okay.
There's something that might be happening soon that might have something to do with
A Technodrome.
Technodrome.
This is going to send them on a giant Indiana Jones-esque adventure where they try and figure out.
Yeah,
what
Jason
to
has
do.
not yet watched through the Mega Show, so we should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just cut this part out.
Yeah, but anyway, but as far as stuff I had, you mentioned the figure that did it. It was probably the pizza shooter. The big one
I
that's
do
got a
believe.
motor and I because for the longest time I wasn't able to get my hands on one, and then when I was like 9 or 10, I bought one at an auction in Arkansas, and that was pretty great.
What are you doing at nearly a decade old going to auction shows?
My dad was in the junk business, and he owned flea markets, and I went to a lot of auctions.
That's insane.
I got a lot of great
cool.
stuff at auctions and
God,
flea markets
okay.
and yard sales, and
You know what the worst Ninja Turtles toy is? The one.
I worked in that business with him for a long time.
Fair.
The one where it was like a normal turtle, and then you open them up, and it was like the Ninja Turtle. Why would you ever have him in normal turtle form?
It was just fun to be able to do it. I have almost that whole line. I loved those.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just fun to mutate them. It was because part of the fun of those action figures was just recreating things you remembered from that show.
Okay.
So that's a thing that happened in the show, so you could make it happen.
In one episode. I guess most of it's one episode, isn't it? Most of those toys, in one episode, this guy shows up.
It's also kind of in the intro every time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you're right. I guess you're right.
It's a thing you associate real hard. with that show.
I always thought that was dumb. I was
Now
like, who
it
wants
was
to play
weird
with
they
the
did
turtle?
it. It was, and of course there was no scale to those figures. Something else in that book. I'm just going to tell you everything about that book, and then when we get to it, I'm going to be like, yeah, this was a good book. But they talk in that book about how the figures were, of course, just 3.5 inches. Actually, this is a thing in the documentary. I also watched that again. So Turtle Power, the documentary, talks about how they made them only 3.5 inches. They originally wanted them to be huge, but they couldn't get the up and ups to go for it. So they made them bulkier so that 3.5 didn't feel so small, right? But also the guys making the figures really wanted the villains to tower over the heroes, and Playmates wouldn't allow that. So that's why they're hunched over. So that if they stood up, they would be taller. But they're hunched over so that they can actually be in the 3.5 inch
Interesting
model.
Compromise.
Yeah, right? Right?
We'll make them denser. That's what the kids will like.
So anyway, that's it for our survey.